If you've built a solid career and still feel restless, unfulfilled, or out of place, whether from burnout, a toxic environment, or an unexpected layoff, this video is for you. Because on the outside, things may look fine. You've done the work, you've built the experience, you've carried responsibility, and yet something feels off. Even though today I genuinely love what I do, it hasn't always been that way. I've been there. I've been in a misaligned role in a toxic work environment, stuck, frustrated, quietly questioning myself. I've also made two major career transitions and pivots. I got a lot wrong, and I got a lot right, and I learned a ton along the way. And after more than a decade of helping hundreds of other professionals escape bad jobs and bad career fits, I can tell you this. I recognize this place. I know what it feels like because I've lived it. This is my superpower. One of the most painful moments in my entire journey started on a Sunday night, or technically a Monday morning. Like many nights back then, I jolted awake at 2 a.m., sweating, anxious, already dreading the day ahead. Every Monday meant the dreaded sales meetings with my boss. The job was completely soul-sucking. I remember sitting in my cubicle that morning, blurry-eyed, staring at my computer and snapping a picture of myself that I sent to my best friend. The message said something like, I think I'm going to walk into my boss's office and just quit. I can't do this anymore. This place sucks. He talked me off the ledge, but that moment captures how bad it really was. And to understand how I got there, we have to go back. I'd spent 25 years in a career that on paper looked successful. I worked hard, I moved up, I took on responsibility, I became the dependable one. The leader people trusted. The person who could handle the challenging situations where others had failed. My career unfolded exactly the way a good career is supposed to. But underneath it all, something always felt off. Because even as a kid, I never really knew what I wanted to be when I grew up. I used to dread that question. It was terrible. I'd make something up just to get through it. And that anxiety followed me into adulthood. So I fell into this career, and it worked until it didn't. The last 5 years felt like slow suffocation. It wasn't loud at first, just this tightening in my chest when I walked into work. Sundays dreading Mondays, counting down to Fridays. This quiet, growing sense of, is this really it? Eventually it turned into burnout and stagnation. I felt undervalued, stuck, and frustrated. And the truth I couldn't ignore anymore was this. I didn't want my boss's job, and the company values didn't align with mine anymore. That realization shook me. Every direction I looked felt wrong. I had no idea what I wanted to do next. I felt completely lost. And that not knowing was terrifying. All I knew was that I couldn't stay where I was. Like most people in that kind of pain, I just wanted out, relief. So I convinced myself of a belief that felt logical at the time. If I just leave and find something new, everything will get better. That belief is a trap, and I fell right into it. I hired a career counselor to help me pick a new path. But we rushed it. I was desperate to finally know what I wanted to be when I grew up, so we skipped the most important work. There was no deep reflection, no identity work, no clarity around values, strengths, or purpose. What I really wanted was to escape the discomfort, to fix the pain by choosing any job that felt different. And after a few informational interviews and surface-level research, I convinced myself I had it figured out. New industry, fresh start, more money, more freedom. But the decision wasn't rooted in clarity. It was rooted in fear. And fear-based decisions always come with a cost. I executed a strong job search and networked my way into an outside sales role in new industry. It was successful. It was successful. But from day one, I knew I'd made the wrong decision. I didn't speak the language. I didn't understand the culture. These weren't my people. I wasn't dealing with imposter syndrome. I was dealing with misalignment. It felt like being dropped into a foreign country and expected to perform at a high level every single day. And to make things worse, my boss was a total narcissist who led through intimidation. The environment was toxic. Every Monday sales meeting felt like an interrogation room. Every Sunday night, like clockwork, I woke up at 2 a.m., panicked, already failing the week ahead in my mind. My sleep disappeared. My health crashed, and I developed a chronic health issue, really. My relationship ended. Everything fell apart. It was bad. I felt like I was living in a bad country western song. You know the kind, everything falling apart, except the dog dying. Thankfully, my dog didn't die. He was the one who stayed with me through it all. But somewhere in that mess, probably the morning I texted my friend, I realized something critical. I didn't just make a mistake, I made a huge one. Not because I picked the wrong job, but because I skipped the internal work. I never asked the questions that actually mattered. Who am I really? What work fits me? What environments help me thrive? What gives me energy? What drains me? What kind of leader am I? What do I want my career to feel like? No one had ever walked me through that. Not in school, not in 25 years of work, and not even the first career counselor I hired. That's when a huge epiphany and a belief finally shattered. Getting a new job only temporarily removes anxiety. Clarity, however, removes it at the root. Because here's the important thing. Without clarity, you're just buying temporary relief and hoping the same problem doesn't show up again. That's what happened to me. That was my turning point. I stopped running, I slowed down, and I hired a life coach who guided me through the deep work I had skipped for decades. And for the first time, things finally made sense. I understood why I had been drawn to leadership, culture, and purpose. Why some environments drain me and others energize me. What actually creates meaning and resilience in a career for me. And somewhere in that realization, something else became clear. I realized I'm weirdly geeky about careers, what actually makes one successful and why so many quietly fail. And I became deeply passionate about helping people avoid the mistakes I'd made and find careers that align with who they are and how they naturally perform, ultimately allowing them to live the lives they want to live. Because at the end of the day, in my career in life, that's what I'd been searching for all along. And once I'd finally found it, I knew I wanted to help others do the same. I realized what I cared about most was helping people find careers that feel like home, where they can show up as their best selves. That reflection became the gateway to the work I do today. I knew I wanted to build the solution I wish I'd had 10, 15, even 20 years ago. Not a rush process, not a surface level job search, a real one. A process rooted in clarity, identity, strengths, values, and purpose. And then translating into storytelling, networking, interviewing, and landing a role that actually fits. That's how my business was born. Out of pain, out of necessity, and out of purpose. And so today, I help mid-career and senior leaders rebuild direction, identity, and confidence so they can step into roles that reflect who they truly are, not who they had to be to survive. Because when leaders love what they do, everything changes. They show up differently. They lead differently. And those changes ripple outward into teams, families, and communities. That is my sense of purpose, and I care deeply about it, creating positive ripples in the world, one leader at a time. And my mission is simple. Help people build fulfilling, aligned, resilient careers so they can create positive impact wherever they go. That's my story. It's not perfect. It's not pretty, but it's real. And it's exactly why I do what I do. So today, I genuinely love the work that I do. I love the people I work with, and I love that my work feels aligned, not just with my skills, but with who I am and what I care about. What matters most to me now is helping leaders get out of the place I once lived in, the confusion, burnout, and pressure to figure it out quickly, and instead move forward with clarity, confidence, and intention. I work with people who are incredibly capable, deeply experienced, and quietly questioning themselves because their environment, their last role, or a tough job search has chipped away at their confidence. Helping them reconnect to who they really are, communicate their value clearly, and step into roles that truly fit. That's work I find deeply meaningful. So if any part of my story resonated with you, if you see yourself in the burnout, the misalignment, or the belief that landing anything will finally make things better, I want you to know there's another way forward. One that doesn't require you to settle. One that doesn't require you to abandon who you are. And one that doesn't lead you right back to the same cycle. In the next video, I'll walk you through the exact process I've developed and refined over more than a decade of helping mid to senior level professionals move out of feeling stuck, burned out, or sidelined, and into roles where they can do meaningful work, have real impact, and actually thrive again. It's the framework I've seen work again and again for people who want more than just another job. They want alignment, momentum, and a career that fits who they become. Thanks for taking the time to watch this and listen to my story. I know your time matters. And wherever you are in your journey, I hope this helped you see that clarity is possible and that you don't have to figure this all out alone. I'll see you in the next video.